if one doesn't have all four, then he's not wearing tzitzis. It doesn't help to have three. If he has three tzitzis and the fourth corner doesn't have tzitzis, the fourth corner is possible, it doesn't mean he's been making 3 out of the 4 mitzvahs. If he's wearing tzitzis with three kosher tzitzis, 1 posel, it means he's not wearing tzitzis at all, and the whole tzitzis are posel. Right? That means that's what it means. They're ma'akev each other. One needs all 4 of them in order for it to be kosher. So if everyone's wearing kosher tzitzis, then one can go out to the Shus HaRabim, right? If, however, the tzitzis are posel, right, then one cannot go outside in the street wearing the tzitzis, because he's carrying the tzitzis. Right? Okay.
We're talking about someone who's Yotzei not amazing. You didn't realize that you were chayav, that you weren't allowed to.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah, b'shogeg. Talking about b'shogeg, where he didn't realize he was wearing them. That's why it's chayav chatos, right? If it was a.
You're talking about Shabbos. You're talking about Shabbos.
We're talking about someone who goes out on Shabbos. That's correct. Someone who's wearing posel tzitzis on Shabbos. In the Shus HaRabim, he is carrying. He's over on the sort of carrying.
But if he's wearing it as a garment.
If the tzitzis are kosher, then they're bottled to the garment. If the tzitzis are posel, then they're no use for this garment because they're posel. They're not serving the garment at all.
So the tzitzis themselves are what's posel, not the garment.
Correct. The garment is a garment. That's not a problem. The problem are the strings.
Right.
Because the strings are not bottled. They're not considered part of the garment because they're posel, and he'll probably want to remove the tzitzis and retie them either on this garment or another garment in a kosher way. So it's like carrying tzitzis strings around the street. They're not considered bottled to the garment because they're posel.
But there are many garments that, I guess it's not a decoration.
If it was a decoration of the garment, it would be bottled to the garment. Correct. Here it's not because they're posel. Okay. Let's have a look at the Mishnah. Let's have a look at the Mishnah on Sif Aleph. The first line, the beginning, Sif Koppen Aleph says the Mishnah Berurah. Shekulam he mitzvah achas. All the 4 tzitzis strings are 1 mitzvah. Even if he's got 3 tzitzis which are very muhuddah, the maximum length, everything he needs, but one of the corners hasn't got tzitzis, so it's posel, then the tzitzis are posel. The mitzvah's asay of putting tzitzis on his garment, he's been mevatel it. That's mean he's being over an issa deraisa. It's called the bitul asay. There's an asay vosulam tzitzis to wear tzitzis, and he's not mekayim that asay. That's called the bitul asay. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cotton based the Shus HaRabim. Well, the Karmelis also means Rabbanon. That's not for now to define which streets are defined as a Shus HaRabim according to the Torah, and which ones are only rabbinic. Karmelis is a rabbinic Shus HaRabim. That's not for now. V'adin l'chol sha'ar psulim. So to any other psul. We've been talking about just now till now that he didn't put tzitzis on the corner. Or the tzitzis apostle. Who has if there any other type of psul, it's the same halacha. If the beged was closed mostly on the side, this is something one has to be careful about. We talked about the tzitzis nowadays that they make, which is
the t-shirt.
T-shirt tzitzis. Right? One has to make sure that the tzitzis are open, that the side of the garment is open most of the distance from. Of the side of the garment has to be open. If most of it is stitched closed, then it's not chayv and tzitzis. Right. During the week, if one wears a t-shirt like that, which is mostly stitched closed with tzitzis on, so he's not the kind of mitzvah, but he's not doing any issa. Right. He's maybe walking 4 arms without tzitzis, which one shouldn't do, but it's no terrible issa. However, if one was to do it in Shabbos in the street, one's carrying tzitzis. It's a garment which is not chayv and tzitzis because it's mostly closed on the side, right? And therefore the tzitzis are not bottled to the garment, and therefore one is carrying in the street tzitzis. Right?
I'm curious about the reasoning behind this. I understand that you're carrying, right? But in fact, you're carrying in your house as well, right? And nobody in the street is actually seeing that it's a puzzle garment. What we're talking about is the stitching here, right? So it's not about it being observed by other people.
Correct.
It's forbidden, basically.
Correct. Carrying is objective because you're carrying.
So why can you carry in your house something that it's muksa, basically, right?
Yeah, we're not talking about muksa. We're talking about carrying in the street.
So carrying from your house to the street.
Muksa is a rabbinic prohibition. That's something else. There's the Torah prohibition of carrying where there's no eruv.
Right.
To carry outside in the street more than 4 amos, which is 2 meters.
Right.
Or so to carry from a private domain to a public domain. Now both is so deraisa. They're both Torah prohibitions.
Okay.
Now, anything which is considered bottle to the beged, part of the beged, which serves it's part of the decor, decorates the beged, then that's bottle to the beged, and that's fine.
Right.
Where the tzitzis are possible, they are serving no function whatsoever for the purpose of the beged, and therefore they are not considered bottle to the garment, and therefore the one is carrying them in the street.
So that's an issue only where you don't have an eruv. If you have an eruv, that's
Correct.
not an issue.
If one has an eruv, it's not. Yeah, there's no problem. One can carry them in one's hands. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Fine. See, he gives a few examples of other psulim we saw as well. Oshahoya arba kanfis. Jump to line. If the hole in the garment is at the wrong place, we mentioned this, that they have to be a minimum of somewhere between 4 to 6 centimeters from the corner of the garment. If they're if they're not in the correct place, one is also carrying anything which passes the tzitzis would render this would mean that he's carrying in the public domain. Okay. We're going to learn the minimum size of a garment to put tzitzis on. We haven't learned that yet. If the garment is less than the minimum size, then also one is carrying. And this is actually the Chazon Ish Choyle. We'll talk about that when we get to Siman Tes Zayin, the minimum share of the minimum size of a garment to put tzitzis on. Okay. Okay. Fine. Let's move on to Sif Base. Okay, Sif Base. In the Shulchan Aruch. Im hi mitzuyetzes kehilchoso. Mutter lo tzeis bo lirshus harabim, bein talis koton, bein talis godoy, afilu bizman zeh she'eino tchilas. If his tzitzis are made correctly, right, and he is wearing kosher tzitzis, then one can go out to the Rishus harabim, whether it's a talis cotton, which is the tzitzis we wear underneath it, or the talis godol, which is what we call a talis nowadays. Even nowadays, that we haven't got tcheles. Even though we haven't got tcheles, it's still completely kosher.
Meaning, missing tcheles is not like missing a corner.
Exactly. And if we just jump quickly to the bottom, we'll see the Mishnah where it says, Sif cotton hay. He says, the Horkaimon hat tcheles v'alovan ein ma'agvin ze'ezeh. Zechsevu isem oisoi, hakol chad v'chad v'mashma. Tcheles and lovan are 2 separate mitzvahs. Right? They're not ma'akiv each other, they're 2 separate mitzvahs. Unlike the corner, the 4 tzitzis on each corner is 1 mitzvah. There's 1 mitzvah to wear a garment with 4 corners of tzitzis. Therefore they're ma'akiv each other. Whereas the tcheles and lovan are 2 separate mitzvahs. There's 1 mitzvah to put on tcheles, 1 mitzvah to put on lovan. Therefore, if one has tzitzis with the white strings, one is mekayim the mitzvah. The fact that one doesn't have tcheles does not ruin the mitzvah.
Just out of curiosity, what if you only able to get your hands on enough tcheles for 1 string? Is it shaykh to wear 1 tzitzis?
Tcheles on 1 corner
instead of on all 4?
I would imagine that's no use, because
but is it a problem? That doesn't really. You're not really.
It could be okay if it's no good, then you'll be carrying the tcheles. If one has only tcheles on 1 of the 4 corners.
Yeah, I think that you're not fulfilling the mitzvah, but
right.
It's still a string, and it qualifies as a string.
If you're not fulfilling the mitzvah, one second.
We're not fulfilling.
One second. It's no worse than having a white string, of course.
It's just an expensive string.
It's not an extra string. It's in place of the white string.
Yeah, right. The whole issue of whether tcheles is a good idea or not, right, doesn't revolve around the kashrus of techelos. It actually revolves around wasting money.
Right.
That's really the issue. And the Gemara actually speaks on this thing. Because fake techelos was sold even in Talmudic times. It was counterfeit techelos. And the issue was, beware of wasting money. Not you're not wearing tzitzit.
Right, of course. Okay, let's go back to the top, to the Shulchan Aruch. So they were, now in the parentheses, the Gemara says, it mustn't be on his shoulders, the talis. It has to be he's wearing the talis. If he's wearing it as a beggar, then he can go out to the Rosh Hashanah. Can't be folded up on his shoulders. And we come in on the talis and the talis, he doesn't have to check the tzitzis before he leaves just to make sure that they're kosher. He can rely on the fact that he knows that tzitzis are kosher.
From last time we checked.
Yes. We'll talk about when one should actually check it. We're going to talk about that. The Mishnah is going to talk about when one should check the tzitzis. Let's move on now to Seif Gimel. Next Seif in the Shulchan Aruch. He's outside in the street, and he suddenly discovers that the talis is posel. The tzitzis is wearing a posel. Suddenly he notices the tzitzis are posel. What does he do? What should he do? Lo yisirenu me'olav ad yagil be'isoi de godol kvoid avuyas. Right? There's a halacha, the following halacha, that godol kvoid avuyas shedoiches lo yisaseh shabtorah. Kvoid avuyas, human dignity, is considered so important that it pushes away any issa de rabbanon. Human dignity pushes off rabbinic prohibition. Here, if he's in a public domain which is only midirabbanon, not midiraisa, he's in a place which is defined as a public domain rabbinically, not melacha-theory. Even though it would turn out that he's carrying, if he continues wearing a tzitzis, it's going to be over rabbinic prohibition. However, to remove the tzitzis in the middle of the street is embarrassing for him, and therefore he doesn't have to do it. Right?
Masha Inken, if it had been a Rosh Hashanah.
If it's Rosh Hashanah, then one can't. We're going to see exactly what one can do in a minute in Rosh Hashanah. Right. The Shulchan Aruch mentions in the comments. Hagor says the Umar. We're going to read a few words in the Umar, then we're going to go to the Mishnah before we finish the Umar. Hagor v'avilus talis koton shetachas begod avein tzorich lifshoy. Even the talis underneath his beged, he doesn't have to take off. Right? Even the tzitzis underneath his beged, he doesn't have to take off. Right? Let's have a look at some of the Mishnah words before we move further. Okay. Says the Mishnah words of Cotton Tess. Mishnah words of Cotton Tess. Shuba Karmelis. Who mokum shasham ein isa til torak midrabanan. A Karmelis is a public domain midrabanan. Human dignity pushes off and it's a rabbinic prohibition. Now the Mishnah asked a question, right? Right? He asked a question which we should have thought of ourselves. Right? He's carrying in a public domain. That's only Rabbanon. But he's also being over Torah prohibition.
Of wearing a garment.
Of wearing a garment without tzitzis. Why shouldn't he have to remove it because of that? Forget carrying. Carrying is Rabbanon. He's in a public domain which is only defined as a public domain Rabbanon. But he's wearing a garment with posel tzitzis. That's a Torah prohibition. So why doesn't he have to remove it because of that? Ravagav the tzitzis mitzvah sasei deraisa. Even though tzitzis is a deraisa, it's a Torah prohibition. Deraisa lo dochim le'kavod aviyas. Human dignity is not pushed off in this deraisa. Mekol mokum shari, even so it's mutter. Why? It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that it's also to wear a beged without tzitzis, a garment without tzitzis. It doesn't say that.
It's also to put one on.
No, it doesn't say that either. What does it say in the Torah? We say every day twice.
Oh, if you're wearing one, then put it on.
It says put tzitzis on your garment, right? Rak mitzvah says lahater by tzitzis. The mitzvah says to put tzitzis on his garment. V'chilin shein yochel lahater by tzitzis b'Shabbos ein even mitzvah say. The Torah says tie tzitzis on your garment. On Shabbos is one allowed to tie tzitzis on one's garment? No. So on Shabbos he's not over. This is very interesting. This is one of the riddles they ask, right? And normally on Shabbos things are prohibited when during the week they're permitted, right? The question is, where does one have a prohibition during the week which is not prohibited on Shabbos? The opposite way around. We have a kula on Shabbos. And this is the answer. to wear tzitzis wearing tzitzis in the street, which haven't got which are possible. During the week, one has to take it off straight away.
Right.
And one's over a Torah prohibition if one wears tzitzis in the street, right? Because he's wearing tzitzis. If one wears it at home, even one wears tzitzis at home. Let's start at home. If one wears tzitzis at home during the week which are possible, he's over on a Torah prohibition, right? Yeah. Because he should immediately tie the tzitzis. On Shabbos, he's not even on a Torah prohibition because he can't tie tzitzis on. It's only rabbinic. And if he's outside in the street, which is the Carmelis, during the week he has to take it off straight away. On Shabbos he can continue wearing it.
But on Shabbos, let's say he's sitting at home and he has Shabbos morning and he notices, gee, my tzitzit are not kosher, for whatever reason. Yeah. Right? Now he has to make a decision, am I going to put these tzitzit on and go to shul or not? It seems to me that he should not.
Correct. You should not put them on. To put them on is to wear. It's still prohibited rabbinically, even on Shabbos, to wear a garment with posel tzitzis.
Right.
Still possible, and therefore one shouldn't put them on. And if one's at home, one should take them off straight away. However, because it's only rabbinic, therefore, if one is in the street and there's an issue of human dignity, and it's an issue of human dignity, then one doesn't have to take them off.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not a permission to wear them in the street. It's a permission to kind of continue wearing them when you discover them.
Correct. We're going to see in a minute even that in certain cases might even allow him to put it on. We're going to see very soon. Okay. So what we've seen so far is just an issue of not having to take it off. Okay. Let's continue. Let's have a look at shemoneh-esrei and Yud. On Posel. He says, whether the corner of the talis tore off, and it became a three-cornered garment. Just one of the tzitzis came off. Doesn't matter how the garment became Posel. Even if this were already possible when he left his house, there's only one condition, which is that when he put them on, he didn't realize they were posel. Right? When he put them on, he didn't realize they were posel, and now he discovers it when he's in the streets. He doesn't have to take it off because it's an issue of human dignity. Then the shemoneh-esrei continues. Our talis, we only wear it during davening. We don't wear it all day. So it's not really, there's no problem of human dignity to take it off. One's walking the street with a talis. If one must take it off, there's no issue of human dignity. Many people walk around in the street without wearing a talis. Some people wear their talis in the street outside, some people don't. Everyone wears it during davening, but in the street, if one would have to take it off, and then there's no issue of human dignity. No one's going to look down on him. It's not embarrassing to walk in the street without his talis.
But it's not a case of just taking it off. You have to actually put it down somewhere, right? You can't carry it.
Correct.
So you have the same problem with carrying it.
To have to put it down is not an issue of human dignity that one loses them. But it's not.
Right.
It's only if it's an issue of human dignity that one would be allowed to continue wearing it. So said the Mishmur, even so, says the Mishmur, once the Rabbanan said one can continue wearing it because of this issue of human dignity, then even if in this particular case, it's not a matter of human dignity, one can still continue wearing it. That's the first pitini he brings. Rabbi Eliezer says one is unclear about this and says one preferably one shouldn't. So there's a machlokes here, two opinions brought down in the Mishmur. If in the case of a talis nowadays, for us, if one can continue wearing it or not, brings down two opinions here. According to Rabbi Eliezer, one should take it off. According to the first opinion, one can continue wearing it. Says the Mishnah to cotton Yud Aleph. He's now talking about the talis cotton, what we call tzitzis, the one underneath one's garment. The Gemara says that even this one doesn't have to remove in the street. Right? Now the question is, why not? It's not recognizable. People won't necessarily notice if you're wearing a talis cotton or not. Why shouldn't you take it off in the street? So it says the Mishnah, So it's not so recognizable. Where the talis cotton with the tzitzis underneath his garment, it's not the fact that he's not wearing tzitzis, which is the embarrassment, because people won't necessarily notice. The embarrassment is having to remove it.
Yeah, he's
with the talis on top of his garment, the embarrassment is walking around without the talis. With the talis underneath, with the tzitzis underneath his garment, the problem is undressing in the middle of the street. That's the embarrassment. So with both of them, it's an embarrassment. We just mentioned that with the talis gadol nowadays, it's a machlokas if one. It seems it's not an embarrassment to walk in the street without the talis gadol. We saw the Mishnah Berurah brings a machlokas if this halacha still applies. Now let's continue. Still have a couple of minutes. Okay. Mishnah Berurah is calling Yud Gimel. No, we haven't read the Ramah. Let's go up to the Ramah. Let's read the Ramah. The last word on the top line. If one of the tzitzis snaps, right? He's in shul. One of his tzitzis snaps. He's not in the street. He's in shul. But if he removes his tzitzis, he's going to be sitting in shul, and he's going to be the only one sitting in shul without a talis on. That's also embarrassing, right? He can even put on the talis. Till now we talked about not having to remove it. Here we can even put on the talis. He gets to shul, he takes his tzitzis out of the bag, right? He was an Erev, let's say, he carried them to shul, all his tzitzis are in his box of shul, takes it out of the box, has a look, the tzitzis are possible. If he sits there without tzitzis, it's embarrassing. He's allowed to put them on. Says them on, below bracha, he can't make a bracha because this is apostle. But he can put them on because it's only Nisa D'Rabbanan to wear tzitzis that are apostle on Shabbos, we mentioned. Seeing as on Shabbos he cannot fix the tzitzis, to wear a garment, a four-corner garment without tzitzis on Shabbos is only a rabbinic prohibition, and therefore they see human dignity pushes off this rabbinic prohibition. Okay? V'dafke b'Shabbos to also lasos tzitzios, ava b'chol ki hagav also only on Shabbos where he can't make tzitzis, but during the week it would be one wouldn't be able to. Let's just have a look. One Mishnah and we'll stop. Okay, we'll just read two quickly. The Mishnah Berurah is called Yud Gimel. It's only if he only discovers it today. If he knew before Shabbos the tzitz were apostle, then he shouldn't put them on the side of Shabbos. Because he should have fixed it on Erev Shabbos. If he forgot, then it's okay. If he intended to fix them, he just forgot about it, then it's okay. One can wear them on Shabbos, even if they're apostle in this situation. So if it's only if you can't borrow a talis in shul. If most shuls nowadays have talisim, he'd be able to borrow. If you can borrow one, then there's no embarrassment to sit in shul with a borrowed talis. Right. It's only if this case. It's only
find the kosher one. Sure. Assuming you can find the kosher one in the shul.
So remain careful to make sure the kosher sits. Okay, very good. I think we'll finish the simon. We'll go on to simon Yudalit tomorrow.
So it means that he is responsible for checking the talis that he borrows in that case.
We're going to talk about that. Tasman have to check the talis one more. We're going to talk about it. It's not so simple. We're going to see that very soon. It's a problem with borrowed talis. Tasman have to check on.